In the previous episode... Is it me or does Luke have the black aura around him? Hello everybody, welcome back. In the previous episode, the ghost has attached itself to Luke, and Becca is maybe like a medium or something for seeing the dead? I don't really know. Oh. Friday, October 21st. While waiting at the mansion, Rebecca overheard a brief conversation between the Wright couple, their interior designer, and estate agent, Rose Cooper. It was discovered afterwards that Isabella had already left a few hours ago. Hours?! Wait, okay, that doesn't make any sense. So basically, Rose calls Becca, and Becca said it takes her 30 minutes to drive there, and I'm assuming her talk with Kylie only took 15 minutes. So in total, oh no, she said it took her 45 minutes to wrap up her work. So I guess the moment Rose called Becca, Isabella immediately left. The entire visit took a whole 24 minutes, and my trip to the mansion, as it turns out, is a useless endeavor in itself. Isabella's no longer there. She left shortly before I arrived. Okay, now that doesn't make any sense if she left hours ago. Or at least, that's what the few staff who saw her assumed. None of them knew where she went, but I can take a few guesses. There are only a number of places in Luxbourne she frequents, and, well, she's never been the complex kind. It doesn't really take a genius to figure it out. Still, it's odd she left on her own. She could have at least waited for Miss Cooper. It would have saved her having to pay the cab's fare twice today.
And right after she was told to stay put! I mean, who does that? Oh, sod off! You don't own the road!
In the end, all Miss Cooper could give me were a string of apologies for my trouble and a request to let her know when I find Isabella. The whole affair didn't even last long. I probably spent more time travelling back and forth. Soon enough, I'm weaving my way back down to Luxbourne, worried sick, and on top of that, maybe a little annoyed. Okay, the audio popped when it repeats, by the way. It's not my mic. Whether at the unexpected turn of events or Isabella herself, I'd rather not think about it for now. Not when I'm already learning late for Zachary's film. Besides, I'm perfectly sure that's where I'll find her. As one would expect, people are already gathered at the movie house when I get to it. The small avenue where it's located has been closed off early from any passing traffic to make way for avid moviegoers who's sure to crowd the venue. I have to park almost a street away and walk the remaining distance because of it. Looking for them has taken a while in a crowd this big, but I eventually spot them near the entrance. Thanks to Zachary, mostly. And like I've surmised, Isabella's with them.
I knew it.
Wasting no time, I march over to their little group. Words filled with concern tumble out of my mouth before I can stop myself.
Isabella! Oh, thank goodness! Becca, you're just in time.
An odd expression crosses her face as I hold it with both hands, but I ignore it in favor of getting a good look at her, forcing her to keep still and fix her gaze at me.
Becca, you're squishing my face. How are you? Are you all right? Why wouldn't I be?
There doesn't seem to be any visible injury, nor does she appear to be in pain. Apart from her confused frown at my question, she looks pretty much like how she would any other day. Even so, you can't really tell those things with her at first glance. The last time she got sick, she never bothered to call anyone, even me, who lives right next door. If I hadn't checked on her then, she probably would have died on her bed with the rest of us none the wiser. It's one thing we laugh about now, but moments like those always teach you something about a person. If anything, it has given me more reason to constantly worry about her. And the moment a familiar name comes up, I know my concerns right now aren't completely baseless.
Rose called me earlier.
Her expression swiftly changes, and gently as she can, Isabella pushes my hands away. Yet even before she says anything, I already have a hunch how this whole thing will play out.
Oh, no, everything's good. Rose covered for me at work today. That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head?
Then and there, the whole conversation goes down as I've imagined. She touches my hand when I reach for the back of her head, intending to check the said injury myself. Even makes a show of hiding behind Zachary just to avoid me. That animation and the noise. Instantly, what's supposed to be a simple inquiry dissolves into a shameless game of tag. Shouting and chasing like none of us can be bothered to act like full-grown adults we're all supposed to be. Including Ashton. I won't put it past Isabella, but Ash out of everyone? In fact, if that stupid smirk on his face tells me anything, he finds this whole mess amusing. Oh, for the love of...
Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter.
She did look pale when I saw her.
Earlier.
Wow, thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor. I'll get you back for this, just you wait.
What? I'm just saying it as it is. If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
There's a moment's pause. My hand stills mid-air as my attention shifts to Ashton and the words he leaves hanging between the four of us. He doesn't meet my eye. I don't think he's even aware of what he said. But the meaning in each syllable alone is, oh yeah! Ash with Elizabeth! And they echo. They sting. They burn.
I'm sorry, saw her?
Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then. I don't know.
Of course. Of course! Why else would Isabella leave on her own after being told to stay put? After that little chat about money this morning? Something close to silence falls while I mull over their words, both what's already been said and what's left unspoken. When I do find my voice, it only reeks with nothing but bitter, unpleasant thoughts. Thoughts I quickly stamp out before they surface. Thoughts I hide the best I can in the deepest part of my mind, locking it away for no one to see. Should not repress emotions, Becca.
Oh, that's good. At least she didn't have to travel alone, right? At least. Good.
Good. Yet try as I might, the green-eyed monster easily rears its ugly head. Like it always does every time his gaze lingers a second longer. Every time he smiles in a manner far too gentle, far too sincere, whenever he thinks no one can see. Every time my mind suggests his word mean more than they should. Every small little thing. Despite what he says, despite his tone...
Look, you guys.
For all I know, it may just be the same kind of fondness born from friendship. Maybe I'm simply overthinking like he often tells me, or maybe there really is something there. But in a short display of impatience, I know the whole of it is just for show. After all, growing up together with him didn't teach me nothing about him. Growing up together with him did not teach me nothing about him. That's a double negative. After all, growing up together with him taught me about him. For whose sake is it this time, though? For him? For Zachary? For her? Or for me? That I can't tell.
If she says she's okay, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's not like we can stop her either. Besides, she's still acting like the same old Isabella to me, if she can still run around like that.
Why are you taking her side?
I'm not. But if she wants to watch Zach's movie with us, I'm not going to stop her. She's probably the one looking forward to it the most.
Ash, that's... You, of all people, should know...
Tell you what, if I notice something amiss with her, I'll take her to the nearest hospital myself. Is that good enough for you?
My mouth opens and then snaps shut almost as quickly, forming a thin, hard line instead. I can't respond, not because there's nothing to say. On the contrary, there's plenty. So many things I can use to reason and get him to agree. But because he speaks with so much certainty, with much reassurance, it feels like there isn't even a choice. All I can give is a long, deep breath and a reluctant nod in the face of it. Before I can get a grip of myself and my own weakness, the mood immediately shifts and I'm back to being tackled into a hug.
Thanks, Becca. It's always been you with him, isn't it? Did you say something? Me? Nothing. Don't mind me.
A lie, obviously. What else can it be? I know the game is like, oh my god, Ash, Becca, Isabella love triangle, but I'm so much more for the Zach, Marianne, Hannah love triangle that they are not suggesting at all. Each and every smile, a tiny effort to keep things as they are, or so I tell myself. Little do I know, this is merely a preamble. It starts out quietly and without fanfare, amidst friendly jibes and a heartless sneezing, with a scrap of paper fluttering harmlessly to the ground. One that looks suspiciously like a cheap Halloween prank no matter how you look at it. And yet, despite how ludicrous it all is, Isabella stubbornly insists, as if our whole life depends on acknowledging the truth in her story. Does she even realize how absurd she sounds? Crivens, even my students wouldn't fall for this.
Isabella, aren't you taking this a bit too far?
She doesn't give me time to regret nor think over my choice of words. From there, it escalates, grows into an argument too petty even for our standards as adults. Before we know it, one after another, harsh, scathing words are being spoken.
It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Right. And in broad daylight, Isabella. Even someone gullible would find the logic in that screwed up.
There's also no way in hell that this supernatural shit is true.
But it's real! What do you think I saw?
A hallucination? A delusion? Didn't you say you fell down some stairs? So maybe Rebecca's right.
It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing.
I'm gonna try and do Isabella's face.
We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
But someone has to be patient in all this, and however much my own has already been frayed earlier, there's no one else. Who else here can deal with someone selfishly acting like a kid? Like every other time, it has to be me.
We are, and you know that. But this thing and that thing has got nothing to do with the other. When Rose called earlier, I thought she's just exaggerating. But based on what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's better if we really postpone this for now.
Don't bother.
Just like that, she cuts us off. Slams the door right in our faces while my own anger flares before I can stop it. Let me just check their relationship quickly. Okay, their relationship has gone down and that was my fault. Actually, I think it's almost on par with Luke. Why is my relationship with Luke better than Hannah? Although it falters briefly at the hard expression on her when she snatches the blasted paper from Ash and I hold on to it. By the way, so, obviously the kids wrote, oh, send this to 7 people or you'll regret it or blah blah blah. So, the story, from what I'm gathering, is that the letter literally means nothing, and I'm assuming if you even just step foot into the Ermengarde mansion, you get cursed, and there's nothing you can do about it. Except face your fears or something. Regardless of how upset she appears, sour expression and bold fists throwing a tantrum is simply unacceptable. For a grown woman at that! Words form at the tip of my tongue ready. But before I can open my mouth and let it all out, her feelings and mistakes be damned, Zachary raises a voice of his own.
Guys!
A warning underneath the warm and hopeful beat in his voice. We all stop and look at him, and even my own anger subsides a little at his tone.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
They should remove the Isabella sprite surely because she slammed the door and left, right?
And hey, ain't this supposed to be a happy get-together?
To an outsider, it might sound like a desperate request, but Zachary has always been the one to keep a level head over petty squabbles. This time's no different. He knows what to say, and when he lets it fall, they only ring sharp and true. So if Zach's the patient one, should he not have spoken up instead of Becca?
We haven't seen each other for months. I'd really love to know what y'all have been up to. I only ever get to talk to Bella over chat. Please.
And as careful as he is with his own tone, it does make me feel ashamed. We're supposed to be here for him, to give him what little support we can give, yet here he is, trying to keep 3 stubborn people from outright hashing it out in public. Later we can and will talk about it, of course. There's a proper time and place for it, and at the moment, my anger and whatever reprimands it carries no longer matter. Beside me, Ashton appears to have already caught on. The lines of his shoulders ease to something much more relaxed, his expression back to its usual nonchalance. Isabella, however, she stands perfectly still, her hands clasping the straps of her bag like a lifeline, eyes trained at some point near her shoes. There's no anger in her face, only an undeniable hurt. But she's never been good at hiding what she thinks, always the open book, always the one to wear her heart out in the open. And when she looks up, her answer is also as simple.
If we keep arguing here, we're going to miss the first few minutes.
Her lips are curled up in a smile, though lacking both of its usual brightness and glee, it's a smile nonetheless. I've seen it countless of times. It's the very same one she would show when she knows she has no other choice, or simply when things get tough for her. But despite everything I already know about her, it still catches me off guard. In all honesty, I expected her to run, to balk at the first sign of losing this time. I won't even be surprised. At 26, she is the youngest among the rest of us, less experienced, less accustomed to dealing with trivial quarrels like this. Yet here she is, holding herself and coping with it, like how she would with matters concerning her family. Outside of that, to me, she has always been this childish, naive girl, and watching the opposite play out right now, somehow I find it difficult to wrap my head about it.
All right, that's the Isabella I know.
Oh, good. I thought for sure you were going to cry.
But I envy her.
What was that for?
Stop calling me a crybaby! I'm not one!
Aw, don't cry.
Stop it!
I envy her spirit, her warmth, her cheer, The shine in her eyes when she looks out at the world. How everything seems to simply fall back to a pleasant, lively rhythm with her around. How easily and tightly she fits into our lives, even without bonds only long years could forge, like a lost piece of a puzzle despite her jagged edges. How she draws people to her with ease. How Ashton, of all people, can be drawn to her.
Okay, scaredy cat then.
That too. If you repeat that, I swear I'll...
Let's just go.
I make no effort keeping the bitterness from my tone. I let it seep, linger stiffly in the air as I avert my gaze from them. From their playful banter, their friendly teasing remarks, and Ashton's tender, affectionate smiles. All before the stabbing aches in my heart change into something too painful to bear. It's all in my head, is what I'd often tell myself. Alright, I've made my decision. We're going to ship Becca with Luke. Yet the way my heart rends just at the sight of them hurts. And like a coward, I walk away from all of it, taking with me a small hope the movie will distract me away from these thoughts. Because like this, it's easy to find something to hate in her. Dusk has already given way to night when we leave the film fest. Unfortunately, it does nothing to improve my mood like I am hoping, neither does the muggy air that greets us upon stepping back into the noisy streets. Too busy, too loud, too many people taking what little space the sidewalk offers. It forces anyone to bump shoulders with those they barely know, let alone care about. In the UK, it's called pavement, not sidewalk. On a normal evening, I probably wouldn't have minded the crowd nor the humid weather. It's not like any of them are bothering anyone. And yet, even with what's admittedly a pleasant company, I can't bring myself to lighten up.
See you guys some other time.
Yeah, see ya.
Not even to return the smiles Ashton and Zachary give us when we go our separate ways. Perhaps this started with Miss Cooper's call, or earlier than that, maybe even the moment I left bed this morning. I mean, she is still ill. Bloody hell, it could have been because of that sodding letter for all I know. I couldn't care less at this point. All I want is to get a warm bath, sleep, and wait for this dreadful day to end. Now, if only Isabella would stop babbling, then maybe this dull throbbing at the side of my head won't turn into a full-blown headache too.
Zach did a pretty good job with his movie, didn't he? Even though Ash said he ran into some trouble late into filming. But I knew he had it in him. It's not like I didn't believe he couldn't do it. I mean, did you see his face after the credits rolled? All those months he worked on this, and everything's finally...
You weren't even watching.
Only the first minutes. I watched the rest of it, I swear. Besides, Ashton was the one who wouldn't stop asking questions.
Well, why do we still need to talk about this then? I liked it. Ash liked it. You liked it. Shouldn't you be telling that to Zachary in person? I'm sure he'll appreciate it better than I ever will.
I know that, but maybe there's something you want to say? Zach had you check the scripts before he went through everything, didn't he? You also worked on it, even if it was only for a short time. So, maybe you want to...
I don't bother waiting for the rest. The moment I spot my car, I immediately make a quick beeline for it. Knowing her, this is merely another attempt at starting a conversation, just so we'll have something to fill the dead air, to replace the strained atmosphere we somehow walked into. One thing, the very thing I'm not too keen to deal with at present. Behind me, Isabella also changes her pace to match mine, her soft strides growing brisk and uneven in order to catch up. A small part of me half expects she'll suddenly trip. She's not the clumsy sort, but there are definitely times when she can be the least coordinated person on the planet.
Becca, hey! Oh no! Wait for me!
And people wonder why I worry. They're not really completely unfounded once you've already grown familiar with her habits, though right now, this is also the very end of the list of things I want to think about. Sometimes it does become overbearing. Even her voice as she calls after me sounds nothing more than background noise to my ears now.
Rebecca, slow down, will you? Your car's not going to leave without us.
The sooner we get on the road, the earlier we can get home. It's Friday, in case you didn't notice.
I know what day it is, but the traffic's not going to magically disappear, even if we go there right now.
I don't want to hear that from you.
Right, these two need to have a discussion.
Didn't you used to complain how horrendous the traffic is back home for you?
Like, if Rebecca was acting this way to me, I would be like, are you okay? Is something on your mind? Like, I don't want you talking to me like this, you know? Like, Rebecca's like 30. Like, she's the one acting like a child right now.
Yeah? But that doesn't have anything to do with this, Becca.
Okay. What do you want to do then? Wait it out? Walk? I just want to go home, Isabella. If you want to stay out here longer, I won't stop you. But leave me out of it. I'm not up for any other foolish excursions tonight.
I wasn't thinking about an excursion. I want to go home too. It's already late. It's just that you've been in this prickly mood since earlier.
That's a good way to say that she's being like a little bitch.
Are you really okay? Was it the cold? Or did something happen at school? Do you want to talk about it?
A long pause follows, and it holds everything she's been meaning to ask from the very start. I'm in no mood, but all the same, my hand stops short of unlocking my car and my grip on the handle tightens. I can feel her eyes boring on me, waiting, hoping patiently for any answers I'd give. She's the same as Zachary, they're bad liars. But when you talk to people like them, if you're not careful, they often leave you with no other choice but to admit the truth, those exact same ones I can't voice. That you like Ash and you're jealous. Despite my lack of response, she pushes on, surprisingly. This time her tone is quieter, more tentative than usual.
Was it because of the letter?
No, it's because I'm jealous. It's a well-meaning question, much like the rest of this talk, yet something in how she says it irks me.
If it is, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to cause a scene. I did see something in the mansion, though. I wasn't lying about that.
Wherever she wants to take this, I no longer want to hear a word of it. Not at this minute, preferably never. Especially when there are already a million other things buzzing and prodding inside my head. Sometimes my patience can only be for so long. I'm not in the mood to talk, this cold caught up with me. I guess we'll figure out the choices in the next episode, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Everybody have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all on the next video to see what choice we make. Bye!